The UK has accused Russia of carrying out a host of cyber attacks to undermine Western democracies by targeting not only the 2016 US election, but also high-profile sports figures and transport networks. Moscow denies the allegations. With me now to discuss this is our correspondent Alistair Sanford. Alistair, tell us more about the UK's claims.
Well, Tokes, Britain has already blamed Russia for state interference and for cyber attacks. This is the first time, though, that it's singled out Russia's military intelligence agency, the GRU. And it's the first time that the claims also come directly from the British intelligence service itself. It's the National Cybersecurity Centre which is making these claims. It's part of GCHQ. And it says the Russian military intelligence has been behind indiscriminate and reckless cyber attacks in flagrant violation of international law, which has had negative effects on national economies and also affecting people, including in Russia. Now, what's unusual is that they've gone so far as to directly source their claims, and it's even published the statement on the government security website, and it's accompanied by comments from the Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt. He says this pattern of behaviour demonstrates their desire to operate outside established norms and to do so with a feeling of impunity without consequences. He goes on to say this: as we can see, our message is clear. Together with our allies, we will expose and respond to the GRU's attempts to undermine international stability. So specifically, they're listing many attacks which before were linked to global hackers generally, with a suspicion that Russia was sometimes involved. Now they're saying it was the GRU. There are 12 hacking group code names that are now linked directly to the Russians. They include well-known things like Fancy Bear, and they also mention 6 specific attacks, of which 4 they now source directly to Russia, including cyber attacks that caused significant damage in from 2015 to 2017.
Okay, and is Britain the only country pointing the finger at Russia?
No. We know that despite Donald Trump's equivocation about Russia sometimes, the US has already sanctioned GRU officers over alleged interference in the 2016 election. Now Australia and New Zealand have spoken today, and they have backed the UK's findings. The Australian Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, said his country was not significantly impacted, but it did support the rule of law, and said he would call this stuff out.
Okay, well, Alistair, thanks, Sanford, looking at those claims. Now we're going to head over to Moscow, where our correspondent Galina Polanskaya is standing by. Galina, how is Russia responding to these accusations?
Well, talks a hell of a mixture in one Nina Ricci perfume bottle. That's how the Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova named those new accusations coming from the Great Britain. She was speaking at a briefing about an hour ago, and she said that everything is mixed here. Spies, hackers, the Kremlin, GRU, and she said that the person who created all of this has a very rich imagination, like Anderson, a fairy tale writer. Maria Zakharova underlined that it was unworthy for a country who pretends to be a world leader to issue such accusations, and said that Russia thinks that the West now thinks that it's good to blame Russia for everything, and especially for hacker attacks, underlining that Russia has another point of view, that Russia wants to collaborate in this issue of cyber security in this field with the Great Britain. So what has happened is that Maria Zakharova linked Skripal case and those new accusations that GRU is involved in the hacker attacks. And now we know what Vladimir Putin thinks about Skripal. Yesterday he called him a traitor, a scumbag, and made it clear that the GRU agents would never even think of going to the Great Britain and dealing with this man. Well, now Russia has always been denying all the allegations in the hacker attacks, but it thinks that it is very important to protect itself from such attacks. And FSB has created a special organization which will be dealing with those issues in the future.